These values are consequently infused into the very fabric of Pakistan and comprise features of the rule of law that exist or ought to exist in the country. For its part, the court has endeavored to remain faithful to the command of the Constitution by attempting to establish a rule of law that grants not only procedural due process to the people of Pakistan, but also protects their fundamental rights promised by the Constitution. Such rights are predominantly civil and political in nature and therefore are secured by imposing negative restrictions on the state, not to interfere in their exercise by the people, subject to, of course, reasonable restrictions imposed by law for national or public purposes. However, the jurisprudence of the court, particularly under Article 9 of the Constitution, which guarantees security to persons by ensuring that they are not deprived of their life or liberty save in accordance with law, has developed the protections provided by these fundamental rights to also include social and economic rights, which impose positive obligation on the state to improve the lives of the people in the light of the changing conditions and the needs of society. A relatively recent example of the court progressively and dynamically interpreting Article 9 in such manner is visible in the Nematullah Khan case of 2020 Supreme Court, wherein it is observed that the right to life enshrined in Article 9 now includes the provision of drinking water, electricity, education, health facilities, civic and civil infrastructure, and transportation to the people. This list may grow further, or this list will certainly grow further with the passage of time and should not be regarded as exhaustive by any means. It may have been noticed that the enforcement of rule of law in the country is linked with the rights and interests that the court identifies and upholds under the Constitution. As custodians of the Constitution and guardians of the people's fundamental rights, the court identifies and upholds under the Constitution. As custodians of the Constitution and guardians of the people's fundamental rights, the court is acutely aware of the onerous duty imposed on it by the Constitution to nurture a society infused with the rule of law, in which no adverse action is taken against any citizen without the backing of law. The expanding jurisprudence of the court is a testament to its commitment to realize this ideal and aspiration of the Constitution. However, the jurisdiction is not limited to merely enforcing fundamental rights of a litigant or a class of litigants under the Constitution. The court also has an appellate jurisdiction in respect of disputes under the general law of the land. The enforcement of such laws comes before the court for consideration and application. In performing its roles, the primary effort of the court is to achieve a balance in the relationship between the state and its people, and a balance between the people themselves in the other set of disputes, to create a society that is striving to accomplish the ideals and aspirations set out in the objectives resolution. It is this balance which forms the critical essence of the rule of law, and that essence is the court. National values of public interest strongly indicate that the balance usually lies in favor of the people, but occasionally it requires the curtailment within reasonable